Let's begin our work on the horizon line. If we had to define the horizon line, we could say that that it is an imaginary line that corresponds to the observer's eye level. Often, the horizon line represents the separation between the sky and the ground, but in perspective, it is primarily a reference point that influences how we perceive objects around us. This concept is extremely important, we'll talk more about this later. So let's start with this image. If we were to ask ourselves where the horizon line is in this landscape, we could easily identify it by noting where the sea and the sky meet. In this case, the horizon line will be located at the level where the sea and the sky separate, and we can clearly see it on the image with this green line separating these two elements. What determines the horizon line is the observer's eye level. In fact, if there is one key point to remember about the horizon line, is that it corresponds to the horizontal line that passes through our eyes. When drawing in perspective, the horizon line is truly a fundamental element that we will need constantly. To locate it, we can use a small character like this one. By imagining a small character within the scene, we can see that the horizon line aligns with their eye level, making it relatively easy to determine its position. An interesting point to note, and we will come back to this later, is that no matter where this character is in the image, whether standing, sitting, or even in motion, the horizon line will always remain aligned with their gaze. This means that if we lower ourselves or rise higher, the horizon line shifts accordingly, affecting how we perceive objects and the overall perspective of the drawing. And we will explore this concept in greater detail later on. Now, looking at this new image with its train tracks, where do you think the horizon line is located? I'll give you a few moments to think about it and then we'll go over it together. If we follow the train tracks with our eyes, we notice that they seem to converge at a point in the distance. This is precisely where the horizon line is located. This point is called the vanishing point, and we will explore it further later on. Now let's imagine our small character placed in the scene once again. Their eyes will be aligned with this horizon line. The key to understand here is that this character cannot see beyond the horizon line. The train tracks most likely continue past this point. The train is obviously not going to stop in the middle of the forest. However, visually the horizon line acts as a limit. It is the point which we can no longer see the ground unless we change our viewpoint. On the other hand, we can still see the mountains and trees in the background because they are positioned higher than the horizon line. However, everything located at the level of the tracks gradually disappears in perspective as it moves further away from the foreground. Alright, now I invite you to take a few seconds once again to look for the horizon line in this new image. Here again, we can identify the horizon line at the end of the road. It appears to fade into the distance, but in reality, it continues. It is simply our eyes that can no longer perceive it beyond this point. If we imagine our character in this scene once again and align the horizon line with his eyes, two possibilities arise. Either they are a gigantic figure, an ogre, for example, or more likely the image was taken from a higher vantage point, such as from a helicopter. We can also notice that all the elements of the landscape are viewed from above. If the observer had been standing directly on the road, the horizon line would have been positioned differently. Now I invite you to try a small experiment. Look straight ahead, whether through a window, from a balcony or in your garden, and mentally identify where the horizon is located. Then repeat the same exercise, but this time while sitting down and then again while standing up. Observe how the horizon rises or lowers depending on your position. And what you will conclude from this simple experiment, as you will see for yourself, is that the horizon line always depends on the observer's position. It plays a crucial role in perspective because it helps determine the orientation of the vanishing line, which we'll learn to draw later in this course. And so we can see this with these 5 figures, each placed at a different height. The horizon line for each of them corresponds to their eye level. As a result, each one has a different horizon line. This means that if we were to place the same object in front of each person, a house, a skyscraper, or any other object, each of them will perceive it from a different point of view and would not see it in the same way. Now we are going to demonstrate this with a simple object and show how merely viewing it from a different perspective with a different horizon line changes the way we perceive the different objects. So here is a view of my garden table, but with 3 different horizon lines. On the left, the horizon line, or the eye level, is extremely low. I had to sit on the ground to take the photo. In the second one, the horizon line is approximately at the height of the table, and in the third, the horizon line is above the table. In general, when the horizon line is low, as in the photo on the left, the table may appear a bit more massive and imposing, with legs that might seem slightly elongated and exaggerated sense of height. This is the kind of effect we might see when looking at a skyscraper, for example, which appears huge next to us because the horizon line is low relative to the building. When we are looking at the skyscraper from the ground. Then, when the horizon line is at the table height, it creates a somewhat neutral view. The proportions are balanced and realistic without significant distortion. It provides a more natural perspective, although here we struggle to see the tabletop and the underside of the table is not visible. Finally, when the horizon line is higher, the table may appear slightly shorter and more compressed, even though in this case the shot is not much higher than the table itself. This effect becomes more pronounced in aerial views, such as when looking at a house from the sky. And therefore, choosing the right horizon line height helps guide the viewer's eye, enhance certain impressions, and strengthen the impact of a drawing by emphasizing specific elements or downplaying others. If you are enjoying this video, know that there are many more waiting for you. On my website, you will find dozens of hours of real-time drawing lessons. We cover all the main topics, the fundamentals to get started, portraits, the human body, animals, and perspective to build entire scenes. Each tutorial is guided from start to finish, as if you were drawing right by my side. You will learn how to correct your mistakes, how to gain precision, and give more strength to your drawings. So if you want to improve and explore all these drawing courses, click on the link in the description. Otherwise, let's get back to this video. And we can better illustrate this with these 3 photos, and we can see that the horizon line on each one of them is relatively low in relation to all these elements. For example, the car is well above this line of horizon, and it's clear that the photo was taken at the ground level, making the car look pretty big. Similarly, the skyscraper appears very huge, emphasized by the very low horizon line in comparison with the skyscraper. And the same effect can be seen in this view of Las Vegas, where the replica of the Eiffel Tower and the hotel in the background look imposing. In each of these images, the low position of the horizon line enhances the sense of grandeur, making the object appear even more imposing and almost making us feel tiny in comparison to them. In these 2 other photos, one showing the Colosseum and the other a random building, the horizon line is significantly less low in relation to the elements. We can see that in both cases, the photo was not taken at ground level, which diminishes the sense of grandeur of the buildings. They appear less imposing compared to the surrounding elements. The fact that the horizon line is positioned roughly in the middle of the image reduces the feeling of gigantism. Objects seem more proportionate and integrated into their environment, unlike a low horizon line which exaggerates their height and visual impact. And now here are photos with a high horizon line where the elements are positioned below it. In this case, the sense of being overwhelmed by the objects disappears. Earlier, the cars seemed enormous compared to us, as did the skyscrapers. Here, we see them from a different angle. While we know they are skyscrapers and therefore very tall buildings, the feeling of being overpowered by their size is much less pronounced. So this gives us an overview of the three different horizon lines position and their visual effects. Now, at times with these photos, you may have tried to identify the horizon lines and it might have seemed more complicated with these elements. That's completely normal. Sometimes the horizon line is not easy to pinpoint. This can also happen in interior scenes drawn in one-point perspective, for example, where the horizon is not visible at all. In such cases, identifying it can be challenging. However, later in this complete course on perspective, we will explore techniques to easily determine the horizon line even when it's not directly visible. Another key point is the placement of objects in relation to the horizon line. When looking at their position and size, we notice that the closer an object is to the horizon line, the smaller it appears. Take this photo of train tracks. For example, we can see that as the tracks extend into the distance and approach the horizon line, they seem to get narrower and smaller. However, in reality, all train tracks are the same width, otherwise the train wouldn't be able to run properly. But in perspective, these optical illusions make them appear to shrink. The same goes for the trees in this photo. Even though they are all roughly the same size, the closer they get to the horizon line at the end of the tracks, the smaller they seem. The same observation can be made with this second photo, particularly when looking at the road. The closer it gets to the horizon line, the more it appears to narrow and shrink, even though we all know that its three lanes remain exactly the same width from start to finish. This effect is also noticeable on the road markings. The dashed lines become smaller and smaller as they move toward the horizon line. And the same applies to the trees. Even though they are all of the same species and roughly the same height, they seem to shrink as they recede into the distance and approach the horizon line. If we take a look at this drawing, we can see that both cubes have a front face that is the same, measuring 3 centimeters. However, in perspective, they are not actually the same size. The cube on the right is much closer to the horizon line than the one on the left, which means that in reality it would appear much larger. To draw this second cube so that it has the same dimensions as the one on the left, while appearing farther away and therefore smaller on the page and closer to the horizon line, I will use vanishing lines. These are the gray pencil lines you can see here. They help me construct the cube with accurate proportions in perspective, and this is what we will be exploring in the next part of the course, starting with 1-point perspective, then moving on to 2-point and 3-point perspective. By using my vanishing lines, I can draw a cube that has the same dimensions as the one on the left. It won't be perfectly drawn since I didn't use a ruler, but this is just to illustrate the concept. So the cube that will be the same size as the one on the left would have these proportions on my paper. This means that both are indeed the same size. And this concludes our work on the horizon line. I know this is a lot of information, but I felt it was important to explain these concepts in detail. I hope everything was clear before we move on to perspective drawing techniques, whether with 1, 2 or 3 vanishing points and even 5. Feel free to rewatch the video if needed to fully grasp these key concepts, which I believe are essential for building a strong foundation in our perspective course.